friends. It is Marissa Friedman, the executive cat herder and founder of Strategy Solved. So, this afternoon, I'm coming to you a little bit earlier than I normally would because I have a jam packed afternoon, and that's just the way that it goes. We do things when we can, as quickly as we can, and we just get it done. So, how many of you have been feeling maybe a little bit kind of overwhelmed with this concept or this idea of thought leadership? And I think for a lot of people, when you hear thought leadership, you're like, what does this really mean? Like, what should I be doing? What should I not be doing? And we've all seen kind of posts that are just like it's kind of like too much. Every post that you see from someone is a little icky. And what I mean by icky is it just something's off. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel authentic, or you just feel like it's super over the top contrived. And I think when we've seen those things, we look at them and we go, yeah, do I like that? Do I not like that? And I've just kind of taken the stance that I'm not really interesting. Like, I don't want to make people go ick when they read my stuff. Period. And I don't think ick is something that we strive for. And as a matter of fact, I think what we're missing the mark on is too often we're delegating these tasks to marketing departments to create thought leadership for us without putting our kind of spin or personality or unique differentiators into those pieces of content. And let's be clear, we all have great gifts that we have. For some of us, like for me, my gift is to take this really high level, really technical, over the top stuff and make it very 6 foot actionable for people, right? So that's kind of what I did recently at the Franchise Association. I took this really like intense concept of marketing AI and I just said, here's some things to note about it. Here's how you can try to use it in your business. Here's the things that you need to pay attention to. And by the way, here are 4 or 5 tools that you can start your journey with. And so from that perspective, what we're trying to do is to really educate people as, we start building up our incubator for our thought leadership accelerator, just to get people really dialed into what that means. And it is not making a very long post about your new job and all of this stuff. I mean, I understand that some of the companies want you to do this, but everybody knows that you left the last company to go to the new company because you're going to make at least 20% more. Let's be clear. So I think thought leadership isn't just long form emotional posts. It's things that are making sense in your industry. It's things that you want to share with people. It's content that you're seeing that is interesting and makes sense. And also it's are the people that are finding you the people that you need to be looking at. And that's kind of where I think people get really kind of bogged down and confused. So as a reminder to you, for kind of doing this process, remember you can always start and look at your social selling index. So I've been in the top 1% of the industry for a very long time. It's something I pride myself. I'm sure a lot of you pride yourselves on this as well. So let's jump in and look at this first. This is your starting point. This is your compass for how you're going to create your content and how you're going to get it out into the masses. And what we've noticed, right, and what we've seen is that traditionally, people are just putting stuff out there hoping, hope is not a strategy. Hope is deferred disappointment, my friends. Now, optimism is something totally different. But if hope is your strategy, I suggest you get a new one quickly. So let's look really quickly at the social selling index. You can find out your score for free. You do not need to pay for that. So that is just something that most people don't even know that that's a thing. So your score is your starting point. And of course, LinkedIn being the cool tool it is, it's going to tell you, hey, here's your industry. Here's how you rank in your network. And by the way, here's where you're doing a good job and here's where you need to do more. So I know that I've built great relationships, but honestly, finding the right people has been very difficult. And I do say no to a lot of LinkedIn connections because I find them to be spammy, disingenuous. They're just not things that make sense for me. And I think we've all gotten this, right? Someone sends us a message and it's very like not personalized and it's very it just feels ick. It feels ick. So what we know is that this is kind of your components of the score and how you're judged across the platform. So as you start to scroll down, what you're going to see is how you compare to other people in your industry. And you're going to find out, obviously, they're going to give you that call to action for Sales Navigator. So let's just start here, right? Here's how we're like, I've done a great job establishing my brand, winning. I've done a great job building relationships. I am now starting to engage more with insights, and now I'm trying to at least authentically connect with people. So that's your starting point. Your starting point is here's where it's at, here's where I need to make some changes. Now you need to think about like what do you want people to know about you? And you note that I'm not saying what programs or services are you offering. What do you want people to know about you? Do you want them to know that, hey, I haven't always been just this coach? I worked in a corporate industry. I did X, Y, and Z. I've worked with titans of industry. And now I've transitioned to helping mid market level executives accomplish X, Y, and Z because I know a process and a framework that works. That's pretty sexy, right? So the goal is to figure out what do you want people to know? What do you want people to find about you? And making sure that you are optimizing all of those things in your profile. As we see most often, a lot of people are not optimizing, they're not taking those things into consideration, and as a result, their profile suffers. So when we look at like how you're going to humble brag or how you're going to do that, remember this, like nobody likes a spammer. Nobody wants your ebook. No one wants your crap unless they ask for it. So the way to open a relationship is not to immediately send a message of someone saying, look at me. I can show you my LinkedIn inbox right now, and it's a ton of people saying, look at me. And not only that, it's like, hey, look at me. Here's me talking about this. So the mistake that most people are making with their personal brands is that they're just leading with themselves instead of thinking about what the other person is going to need. So instead of saying, here's me doing my TED Talk, and don't you want to watch it and download this activity guide, think about what that person on the other side is experiencing and just ask them like, hey, have you experienced any culture changes lately that have put your executives on edge? That question in and of itself will make somebody go, maybe, why? And you could say, hey, like we've done some research to figure out that we've identified that there's three specific things resilient organizations can do to increase their productivity, efficiency, retain talent, and generate more revenue. Is that something that you might be interested in? And now you have someone going, oh my gosh, yeah, please send that to me, right? That is very different than starting off with, please watch my TED Talk on productivity and download this thing that we found to work really well with executives. Like, no, that's not the right way to go about that. So what we try to do is to structure these conversations so that they are happening in flow, so that people don't feel like gross or that ick factor. And again, like don't use people unless they agree to it, right? So for example, if I see someone that I know is connected to someone I'm trying to network with, I won't reach out to that person and say, "Hey, I know we're connected to this person. I'd love to talk." I don't want them to think that I have the permission of someone if I don't have the permission. So really simply, you asked your colleague, "Hey, I noticed you're connected to this person I'm trying to get a hold of. Is it okay to name drop your name?" And they'll tell you yes or no. Don't do that. Don't do it without someone's permission. It's rude and it's gross, right? Providing value to others is really taking a step back, commenting on posts, doing things. But remember, if you are going to show up in a particular way, then you don't get to go outside of that construct. So, for example, if you're a leadership expert or you're a meditation expert, or you claim to be like open and heart centered, but then you're telling people on threads that, they're a-holes, or like if they think that way, they're stupid or they're idiots, like that's not being brand consistent. So, I always kind of come from the place of like, I'm human, I'm going to make mistakes, but in no way, shape, or form am I always on my best behavior. And so no one expects that of me. So, really fine line to draw for those of you that are more on the conscious capitalism side of things is like, well, are you benefiting from that? Be careful how you start these conversations. Be careful how you open those dialogues, because what you'll do is create some brand confusion, right? If you're telling people that your goal is you're a mindfulness coach and you work with people to eliminate stress, and then you're on threads on LinkedIn telling people they're dumb, probably not going to be very brand consistent, okay? So when we talk about networking on LinkedIn, I wrote a great post a while back that continues to get feedback. And I mean, it is really just a core testament to a good process that's not trying to um, go around an algorithm or anything of that nature. That's like not what we do. We don't do that. Like that's not our thing. I have dropped it in the comments for you, and it's basically like, hey, these are 5 things you need to know about getting clients on LinkedIn. This is the way to kind of go about doing that. And if that's something that interests you, you can read the article for free. It is not behind a paywall. You can grab that article, and it's just going to walk you through the 5 things that we know work really well. And I kind of always say, like, just avoid the ooh. And that's why that picture is there. But also, it's going to walk you through kind of 5 steps to do. And then we also have a 10-step LinkedIn profile upgrade that we just offer as a freebie, where you can go grab that download, implement that, try it out on your own, and really start developing that better word track for yourself. So for us, things to pay attention to over the next couple of weeks. We have our Thought Leadership Accelerator that will begin accepting applications in just a week. So we have a very limited number of seats. This is not a faux scarcity. This is a like, I cannot handle more than a certain amount of people. So we are asking people to apply if they're seriously considering coming and being a part of this accelerator. The whole goal is to increase their thought leadership over a 30-day period. So there's going to be one cohort that we work with. We've pilot tested this program. We know that it works. We know that clients are getting leads as a result of our efforts, and we're really excited to offer this. This also comes in conjunction with another exciting announcement that'll be out in 2 weeks, that I'm personally really, really excited to share with all of you guys. But you'll notice that I'm really focused on talking about the thought leadership and credibility and branding, because more than just having a checkbox on Instagram, you have to be able to show up and be credible to the people that you're serving and working with. But a lot of the times, the people that are doing the work don't have the brand set up. And it's almost in reverse. There's a lot of people with great branding that haven't done the work. And so the goal is to find that happy medium and that happy place where they can both coexist. So with that, my friends, thank you so much for your time today. I hope you're all doing well. And that's all I've got to say about that. Bye.